Why is that happening?
I mean, my opinion,
Yeah.
you know how the feminists always say, men are the worst, all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's funny
They hate
because
men.
I kind of do. I don't. They shouldn't hate men, but
Right.
but if you just read, it's all men's fault. I actually do agree with that because if there are fathers stepping up in their own twisted way, there's a reality to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because if you look at all of this stuff going on, it's just all daddy issues.
Yeah.
All of it, all
Sure is.
across the board.
100%.
100%. And I think that's one reason why I like painting cultural notions, because one thing you'll notice across every culture is the trope of mother nature, father culture.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of painting cultural motifs because it's bringing back, again, art is just a different medium. You know, you're using a medium of YouTube. It's just another way of communicating the same spirit. So
You're so right, man. That's why for the last 31 years now, we have been rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man, because it's definitely a father's issue. And when the men are weak and not running the family the way they should, everybody end up screwed up and divided and angry, and all kinds of things happen.
I agree.
Amazing. Do you think we can turn this around?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because, you know, one man waking up goes a long way.
It sure does.
And I'll put it this way. It's like, so my old studio before I moved to New York City was in Adams Morgan in Washington, D.C. Right by the Women's March when President Trump won. Okay? So I turn my music off. This is a true story. I sit down, and I'm not painting. I put my brush down. I hear the spraying noise. I'm like, what the hell? I don't spray, right? And I go downstairs because it's pretty quiet. It's like very post-industrial, so I can hear other floors.
Right.
I go downstairs, and this person's like just spray painting on my storefront. I'm like, fuck patriarchy, all this stuff.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what I gotta pay for that,
Yeah.
you know? And then first of all, like I'm not white, whatever he was writing on there, but the whole notion is that this whole Women's March, they got together, they shout, they scream, they cause damage, but nothing changes.
Yeah.
Imagine if a third of men got together and did that. Revolutions. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Good point.
But it's just about
Good point,
adding up and yeah, they got to do the right thing, you know.
Why don't men organize like that and get out there and protest, fight to change the laws?
Because they're getting kindness and strength and weakness confused.
Oh.
Yeah. They think that by being, you know, someone might be pushing them instead of saying, you know, standing up for themselves and saying, you got to stop.
Yeah.
They're you know, they're kowtowing to it, and they're thinking that they're being mean, when it's nothing further from the truth.
So you grew up closer to your father?
I grew up with both parents
Both
at
parents,
home.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a saying in I mean, again, I'm an American,
Right.
but I'm just saying also, there's a saying in Korea
Right.
that you should select your partner or, you know, wife. I know you don't like that word.
Don't say partner.
Got you. No, but the saying goes that you should select your partner like your future child has a deciding vote.
Nice.
Right?
I like that.
So my father was always family oriented, you know, but he's an old school like military guy, and so he knew that he wanted to move to America legally, go into the suburbs and raise a family.
Yeah.
Like he had that model in his head, and he did it. So he was big on that. So I grew up under that model.
Nice, man.
You know?
Do you believe there's racism?
I don't call it racism.
What do you call it?
I don't have a word for it. I just call it weakness.
Yeah.
To even look at it that way. You know, like right now there's all this hashtag Stop Asian Hate.
Yeah.
Whatever
I was
that
asking about
is.
that.
Yeah, I don't.
They're for the record, they're knocking out, the blacks are going into the
Right.
Asian communities and knocking out Asian people, robbing them, stealing them. And in San Francisco, they're letting the blacks right out, they'll put them in jail, but they let them right back out. And they go back into the same area and knock out Asian people, rob them. What do you think about all that?
Well, it's not a black, Asian, white thing to me.
Well, that's who's doing it, though.
Well, here's the thing. I keep mentioning Korea just because I have so much family there,
Right.
so I visit there.
Yeah.
If you go to Korea, all the people causing trouble and they're all one race for the most part. I mean, there's some American bases there.
Yeah.
But all the people causing trouble in Korea, the demographic, they're all on welfare. They're all raised by single mothers. So it's the same situation.
Yeah.
So I go to Korea almost every year because of my family. So much is there, and it's the same problem there, you know. But it's raised by the same standards,
Yeah.
right? And it's lacking that source. And I mean, what I would say, because they just had this New York like Asian rioting on the streets crap like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, like, for me, you know, the elders I know in Korea and all this, like, the pride that Asians have isn't that they don't like to paint themselves as a victim. So this is counterintuitive. So when I heard that, I went, oh, come on, what is this? Like, I'm just not into any of that. You know, it's like you're just making excuses and not standing up. But here's the thing, I will say though, I don't want it to get there, but Asian custom is to be very respectful and nice until they're not. You know, and if they push too much, then they're just going to go on the roofs and start shooting. And not even in a scary way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just more like in a problem-solving way.
Yeah.
You know, it's not scary. They're like they'll become like robots and just yeah. So
They will protect themselves.
But I don't
push
want it
them
to
too
get there.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, we'll see.
And so, what do you think about Black Lives Matter and all these people blaming
Not a
white
fan.
people for everything? Everything is white supremacists. Everything is the white man's fault. What do you think about that?
Well, let me first say, like, again, as an artist, I'm not gonna pretend like I understand economics, politics, anything like that.
Right.
I don't want to even act like that. I'm a romantic, actually. I'm not an intellectual or any of this stuff.
Okay.
So, I always tell people I was pushed to the right. I didn't even like. I mean, when people would ask me, this is before I was even that interested in politics. When people would say, like, "Are you a conservative or a liberal?" I would tell people I was a liberal, but it was really because I just didn't know anything.
Right.
That's what I came to see. And then I realized that, you know, no matter, like, the only argument that they had was calling the other side a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe who hates the poor.
Yeah.
That's all they had. And I was like, that's not a conversation. And then finally, if I was to push back any question, they would oust me the same way. So I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So I got to the point where I tell people I was pushed to the right. Because I was not even that much of a politically motivated person. I mean, I'm in a tunnel vision of enjoying painting. Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally painting. That's what I'm doing. But I tell people I was pushed to the right. So, yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I think that Black Lives Matter, like, my experience with them has been nothing but hostile. It's been nothing but hostile.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think they're allowed to get away with it? I noticed that all summer of last year, 2020, they burned down cities and businesses. They were stealing wash machines and different things from stores.
Yeah.
There were some people killed in that. But they seem to be getting away with it. Where if it was white people doing it, it would be a different story.
Oh, well, for sure.
So why are they letting Black Lives Matter get away with it, you think?
I think that good people, again, I could be wrong, but I think it's the kindness, weakness thing I told you about. I think that they don't want to come off as the bad guys by saying, hey, knock that off.
Yeah.
And you know, but we got to do it now before it gets worse.
Yeah, and
You know,
it will too if you don't stop
It's
it.
going to get worse. I will say I had the conversation with a friend of mine, and we were having this same conversation where he's saying that these are not riots, this is a protest.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, once it's
I know.
$20 million worth of property damage during the George Floyd riot, is that a riot or a protest? He said it's a protest. I'm like, I can't talk to you.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know
It's
what
just
you
like,
mean.
it's at some point, I mean, common sense ain't common right now.
Yeah.
That's
for
all it is,
sure.
yeah.
Are you a beta or alpha male?
Alpha male.
You're an alpha male?
Yeah.
Have you ever been a beta male?
I've been a beta male, 100%.
And what made you beta and how did you overcome it?
I just started speaking up for what's right. That's really all it is. And I didn't care. It was like more of a no matter what.
Yeah.
If people do something to me, it doesn't matter. And Yeah, I don't even have an intellectual answer for you. I just grew into it where I realized that I don't care if people attack me this, that, and the other. I mean,
Yeah, man.
it is what it is.
That's right.